Peace be upon you, my friend. I am Sheikh Yusuf, the Life Strategist, and today I am going to tell you something that your financial advisor, your doctor, and your business partners will never tell you because they do not understand the true architecture of a man. They will tell you that wealth is built through spreadsheets, through market timing, and through aggressive negotiation, but they are looking at the external world while the internal world is decaying. They are wrong. Wealth is not just a number in a digital bank account. Wealth is a frequency, a biological and spiritual resonance, and that frequency is generated in the one place you least expect, your stomach. Listen to me very closely, because what I am about to reveal is the unseen bridge between your biological state and your financial destination. And I promise you that if you ignore this, no amount of hard work or strategy will ever be enough to keep you at the top for more than a fleeting moment. For over 50 years, I have studied the ancient teachings, the timeless wisdom that governed the most successful merchants, leaders, and dynastic families in history. These men did not have high-speed internet or complex algorithms, yet they built wealth that lasted for centuries. How? They had something far more powerful, a disciplined body that acted as a pristine vessel for sustained provision. They understood a law that modern society has worked very hard to make you forget, the law of the biological tax. Every time you put something into your body, you are either making an investment or you are paying a tax. And most of you are currently paying a tax so high, so punishing, and so constant that you have no capital left to build an empire. You wonder why your bank account is stagnant. You wonder why your deals fall through at the last minute. You wonder why you lack the clarity to spot a miracle or an opportunity when it is standing right in front of your face. It is because you are literally consuming the seeds of your own poverty. In the ancient teachings, we learned that the stomach is the governor of the mind. If the governor is corrupt, the mind is a slave, and if the mind is a slave, it cannot lead you to wealth. Today, I am going to identify the 3 specific categories of consumption that are acting as anchors on your financial potential. These are not just unhealthy foods in the way a nutritionist speaks. These are high vibrational blockages that disrupt the flow of sustained provision into your life. If you want to move from a life of struggle and hustle to a life of ordered abundance, you must eliminate these 3 things immediately. This is not a suggestion, it is a strategic requirement for anyone who wishes to be called a man of substance. Let us begin with the first and most dangerous category, which I call the food of impatience. In the modern world, you call it fast food or highly processed convenience, but in the realm of the life strategist, this is the food of the poverty mindset. Why do I say this? Because it trains your brain at the cellular level for instant gratification. Wealth is the result of delayed gratification. It is the harvest of the man who can plant a seed today and wait years for the tree to bear fruit. Every man who has maintained power for decades possesses the absolute ability to wait. They can wait for the right deal, they can wait for the market to turn, they can wait for the perfect moment to strike. But when you consume food that is designed to be ordered in 30 seconds and consumed in 3 minutes, you are reinforcing a neural pathway that demands now. This now energy is the poison of wealth. When you are addicted to the hit of salt, sugar, and fat that comes from a drive-through window, you are teaching your subconscious that you cannot control your impulses. If you cannot control your impulse for a cheap, oily meal, how can the universe trust you to control your impulse when $1 million is on the line? I have seen many men lose their entire inheritance because they could not wait. They needed the dopamine hit immediately. They chased the fast money because their bodies were trained to expect fast results, and that fast money led them to a fast and permanent bankruptcy. When you eat processed chemicals, you are lowering your biological frequency. Your body has to work 10 times harder just to filter out the toxins and the dead energy of that food, leaving you with no cognitive energy left for vision. A man without vision is a man who will always be an employee. He will always work for a man who has the energy to see the future. The ancient teachers lived by a rule. If it was not grown in the earth by the hand of the Creator, if it does not have a lineage to the sun and the soil, it does not belong in the body of a leader. By choosing to eat slowly, by choosing to prepare your own food, by choosing to eat whole foods, you are performing a daily ritual of discipline. You are telling your body, I am the master here, not my hunger. This discipline translates directly into your bank account. The man who can master his plate is the man who can master the marketplace. If you cannot say no to a processed snack that you know is killing your focus, You will never be able to say no to a bad business deal that looks tempting on the surface but is hollow underneath. Stop paying the tax of impatience. If you want to build an empire, you must first build the man capable of holding it. And that man does not eat the food of a peasant who is looking for his next fix. Let us go deeper into the second category, which is even more subtle and devastating to your productivity. I call this the food of lethargy. This is anything that causes your internal system to spike and then crash, disrupting the balance of your soul. In your world, this is refined sugar, white flours, and high fructose syrups. But in my world, this is the food of the blind. Why do I call it that? Because you cannot spot an opportunity if you are in a sugar crash. Sustained provision requires a state of constant, calm, and crystalline awareness. You must be able to read the room during a meeting. You must be able to hear the no that is hidden behind a yes in a negotiation. You must be able to sense the shift in the global wind before it happens. But when your blood sugar is a roller coaster, your perception is distorted. You become reactive, not proactive. You become emotional, not stoic. Think about the most important decisions of your life, the ones that determined your current path. Did you make them when you were feeling sharp, focused, and energized, or did you make them when you were tired, foggy, and desperate for a nap? Most people are living in a permanent state of brain fog. They call it getting old or the stress of the job. No, it is a self-inflicted blindness. The ancient wise men used to fast for days before making a major life decision or signing a treaty. They wanted their minds to be like a sharpened blade. They knew that a heavy, sugar-laden stomach leads to a heavy, slow mind. When you consume high-sugar foods, you are inducing a biological state of confusion. Heaven never funds confusion. Provision flows to order, and order requires a mind that is steady like a mountain. If you are constantly chasing the next hit of sweetness, you are a slave to your own biology. A slave cannot own a kingdom. You must become the architect of your own energy. Imagine you are building a skyscraper that is meant to stand for 1,000 years. Would you use materials that crumble under the slightest pressure? Would you use wood that is hollowed out by termites? Of course not. Then why are you building your career, your legacy, and your wealth on a foundation of refined sugar? It creates a false energy, a spike that feels like power but is actually just a frantic movement before the collapse. It leaves you bankrupt of actual vitality when the sun goes down and the real strategists are still working. The third category is the one that touches the deepest level of the unspoken rules of wealth. And it is the one most people find the hardest to accept because it requires true maturity. I call this the food of unconsciousness. This is the consumption of anything that was produced in a state of corruption, extreme industrial waste, or disrespect for life. This includes meat from animals that were mistreated and kept in darkness, or plants that were soaked in poisons just to increase a quarterly profit margin for a corporation. You might think this is mystical talk, but it is psychological and behavioral leakage. Everything carries a consequence. When you consume something that was created through shortcuts, through greed, and through a lack of respect for the natural order, you are ingesting that same consequence. You are literally eating the vibration of greed and shortcuts. How can you expect to build a business based on integrity, trust, and long-term value when your very cells are built on the foundation of industrial shortcuts? The ancient teachers understood that the quality of the sustenance determines the quality of the person. If you want to be a man of high value, you must consume things of high value. And I'm not talking about the price, I'm talking about the integrity of the source. There is a reason why the true elite, the families that stay at the top for 10 generations, not just 10 years, are obsessed with the source of their food. They aren't being picky or exclusive, they are protecting their vessel. They know that if they allow corrupt energy into their bodies, their judgment will become corrupted. And in the world of high-stakes wealth, one bad judgment call, one moment of clouded ethics, one impulsive decision can cost you everything you have built. You must treat your body like a sanctuary, not a graveyard for industrial waste. Most of you are treating your stomach like a trash can for the industrial food complex. You are eating things that have no life force left in them. Dead food that has been sitting in a plastic bag for 6 months, and then you wonder why your ideas are dead. You wonder why your enthusiasm for your work has evaporated. You wonder why you feel burnt out. You are what you eat, not just physically, but energetically. If you eat dead, processed, chemical-laden garbage, your life will reflect that same decay. But when you shift to a life of conscious consumption, the doors of sustained provision begin to swing open. Why? Because you finally have the biological capital to walk through them. You finally have the clarity to see them. You finally have the discipline to stay there when things get difficult. I want to tell you a story of a merchant I knew many years ago. This man was a giant in his industry, a man of great intelligence and massive ambition. He had started several businesses, and each one followed the same pattern, a brilliant start followed by a slow, agonizing decline. He came to me in a state of desperation and said, Sheikh Yusuf, I have the best strategies, I have the best connections, I have the best products. Why is my wealth dying? Is there an unspoken rule I am breaking? I sat him down and I didn't ask to see his balance sheets. I didn't ask about his marketing. I asked him a question that offended his ego. I asked him, what did you eat for breakfast today? He laughed in my face. He thought I was joking or that I was senile. He said, I had 3 coffees and some processed pastries from the gas station while I was on a conference call. I don't have time to eat properly. I'm too busy building an empire. I looked him in the eyes with the weight of 50 years of wisdom and I said, you are not building an empire, you are building a tomb. You are trying to run a high-performance Ferrari on cheap, diluted, dirty fuel. Your businesses are failing because you are making million-dollar decisions from a state of biological poverty. Your brain is starved of real nutrients, and your spirit is heavy with attacks of bad food. I challenged him to a 30-day protocol. No processed foods, no refined sugar, and only eating things where he knew the name of the farmer or the source of the soil. For the first week, he was miserable. He was angry, he was tired, he had a constant headache. That was the poverty mindset and the addiction to lethargy leaving his body. By the second week, his mind cleared for the first time in a decade. By the third week, he called me, his voice trembling with excitement. He had noticed a flaw in his business model, a small detail he had been blind to for 2 years. It was a tiny leak where his managers were skimming profits. But because he was always foggy and reactive, he had missed it. Because he finally had the clarity of a life strategist, he fixed the leak. That business is now a multi-million-dollar enterprise. He didn't need a new marketing funnel. He needed a new gut. He needed to stop paying the biological tax that was keeping him blind to his own success. If you are listening to this and you feel a sense of resistance, that is your ego trying to protect your current level of failure. Your ego wants to believe that food doesn't matter because then you don't have to change your habits. But I am here to tell you that the cost of your current habits is the wealth you haven't earned yet. Now, I am going to give you the 30-day wealth reset protocol. This is not a diet, this is a strategic realignment of your vessel. For the next 30 days, you will declare a war on these 3 categories. No fast food. None. Not even once in a while. No refined sugar. You will find your sweetness in nature or not at all. And no dead food. If it comes in a box with a list of ingredients you cannot pronounce, it is a poison to your provision. You will notice 3 things happen and I want you to document them. First, your sleep will transform. You will wake up with what I call the morning command. You won't hit the snooze button 3 times because your body isn't working overtime while you sleep to process industrial toxins. You will wake up sharp. You will have a 2-hour head start on your competitors. That is where wealth is won, in those quiet hours before the world wakes up, when your mind is a clear channel for ideas. Second, your emotional stability will increase to an elite level. You won't get shaken by bad news or market fluctuations. When a deal goes sideways, you will remain stoic. You will see the solution while others are crying about the problem. This is because your nervous system is no longer being hijacked by the artificial highs and lows of sugar. You will become the still point in the turning world and people will pay you great sums of money for that stability. Third, you will start to attract a different caliber of person into your life. People can sense your frequency before you even speak. A man of discipline attracts other men of discipline. A man of chaos attracts other men of chaos. When you carry yourself with the physical dignity of someone who respects his vessel, the world treats you with a different level of respect. You will find that doors open without you even knocking. This is not a mystery, this is the law of consequence. You have become a person worthy of sustained provision, and so the provision finds you. Think about the caravan leaders of old. They would never feed their camels trash, because they knew that the camel was the only thing standing between them and the desert. Your body is your camel. If you don't respect it, you will never reach the oasis. You will die in the sand, wondering why you weren't provided for. The provision was on the path. You provided the broken vehicle. Remember, the infinite does not judge your current income. He judges your habits. If you show that you cannot be trusted to manage your own body, the most basic gift you were given, why would you be trusted with the management of great wealth, which is far more complex and dangerous? Wealth is not a reward for hard work. It is a responsibility given to those who can maintain order. You must prove you are a worthy steward. Stop eating like a slave if you want to live like a king. Stop settling for the entertainment of junk food and start seeking the sustenance of a leader. Your bank account is a mirror of your self-respect. If the image in the mirror is one of lack and struggle, clean the mirror of your biology and the image will change. To expand on this, let us explore the merchant's psychology of biological capital. In the old trade routes, a merchant's reputation was his currency, but his health was his insurance. If a merchant fell ill, his caravan stopped. If his caravan stopped, his competitors took his market share. The modern digital world has made you believe you are sedentary, that you are just a brain in a chair. This is a lie designed to keep you as a consumer. You are a biological machine. Every thought you have is a chemical reaction. If you provide the wrong chemicals, you produce the wrong thoughts. I have sat in boardrooms with men who were worth 9 figures, and I watched them eat. They did not eat for taste alone, they ate for the afternoon edge. They knew that if they ate a heavy processed lunch, they would be sluggish by 3 p.m. At 3 p.m., when the crucial negotiations happened, they wanted to be the hungriest, sharpest person in the room. They let their opponents eat the heavy meals. They let their opponents pay the biological tax. And then they outweighted them. They outthought them. They took the deal because they had the biological stamina to stay in the game longer. This is the competitive advantage of the life strategist. You are not just avoiding bad food. You are weaponizing your health to dominate your niche. Imagine the compounding effect of being 10% sharper than your competition every single day for 5 years. That 10% doesn't add up. It compounds. It leads to better decisions, better relationships, and eventually a completely different tax bracket. Most people are operating at 60% capacity because of their diet. If you operate at 95%, you are not just winning, you are playing a different game entirely. Let us also discuss the architecture of the blood. Your blood is the river that carries nutrients to your brain. If that river is thick with fats, sugars, and chemicals, the flow of your intuition is blocked. Intuition is the highest form of intelligence in business. It is the ability to know a deal is good before you can prove it. This knowing requires a clean internal environment. When your blood is clean, your intuition is loud. When your blood is dirty, your intuition is a whisper drowned out by the noise of your own discomfort. I have watched many men ignore their intuition because they were too busy dealing with indigestion. They missed the warning signs because they were focused on their own internal chaos. Clean the river, and the messages will come through clearly. We must also speak on the law of respect for the soil. The ancient teachings tell us that we are made of the earth. Therefore, we are biologically connected to the soil. When you eat food that is grown in depleted, poisoned soil, you are depleting your own foundation. Seek out minerals. Seek out the life force that only comes from the earth. This is why a simple vegetable is worth more to your wealth than a processed power bar. The bar has no soul. The vegetable has the sun, the rain, and the minerals of the earth. You are building a body that must house a soul of great influence. Do not use cheap materials. Let us consider the concept of the sovereign table. In the ancient days, a king's table was a sign of his power, not because of the quantity of food, but because of its purity. A king did not eat the scraps of the marketplace. He ate that which was set apart. You must set your own table apart. You must stop being a scavenger of convenience and start being a sovereign of choice. When you look at a menu, you are looking at a list of potential futures. One choice leads to a clear mind and a full vault. The other choice leads to a foggy mind and a drained account. Which future are you choosing? Many of you are working 18 hours a day, but because you eat poorly, you only get 4 hours of actual quality output. You are wasting 14 hours in a state of semi-consciousness. If you cleaned your diet, you could do in 6 hours what now takes you 18. Think of the time you would buy back. Time is the only resource that even the wealthiest man cannot buy more of, except by improving his biological efficiency. By eating for power, you are literally buying time. You are extending your life and increasing the density of your work. This is the ultimate wealth hack that no one wants to talk about, because it requires the one thing most people lack, self-control. But you are not most people. You are here because you want to be a life strategist. You want to be a man of substance. And a man of substance starts by controlling the substance he puts into his own mouth. Let us conclude by reinforcing the sovereignty of the plate. Every time you sit down to eat, you are in a courtroom. You are the judge, and the food is the evidence. If the evidence shows that you are a man of discipline, the verdict is abundance. If the evidence shows that you are a man of impulse, the verdict is struggle. You are the only one who can change the verdict. I have given you the protocol. I have given you the history. I have given you the mechanics. Now you must provide the will. Wealth is waiting for the man who can master himself. The gates of sustained provision are heavy. Only the strong can push them open. Strength starts in the gut. I want you to go into the comments right now and write these words. I am a worthy vessel. By writing that, you are making a public declaration. You are telling your subconscious, the world and the Creator, that you are ready to stop paying the biological tax and start receiving your sustained provision. Subscribe to this channel, because next week I am going to teach you the law of the evening sanctuary, the specific way you must close your day to ensure your wealth multiplies while you sleep. Do not be like the masses who consume whatever is placed in front of them by corporations that profit from their weakness. Be a strategist. Choose your inputs with the precision of a jeweler, and you will choose your outputs with the power of a king. If you are struggling with the transition, start small, but start today. Throw away the sugar in your cabinet. Delete the delivery apps from your phone. These are not just apps. They are portals for poverty. Close the portals. When you feel the hunger for junk, remind yourself, this is a test of my sovereignty. If I win this, I win the day. If I win the day, I win the decade. You have a destiny to fulfill, and that destiny requires you to be at your absolute best. You cannot fulfill a massive assignment with a sluggish body. The ancient wise men were often described as having eyes that shone with a hidden light. That light was not magic, it was the result of a clean vessel and a clear mind. That light is what attracts wealth. That light is what scares away the shadows of doubt. That light is your birthright, but you have traded it for the pottage of convenience. Buy back your birthright today. The path is before you. The wisdom is in your hands. The decision is yours. Will you continue to fund your own failure, or will you invest in your own empire? I have given you the blueprint. Now you must provide the construction. Your soul is the blueprint, and your life is the construction. Peace be upon you, my friend. May your eyes be open to the abundance that surrounds you, and may your body be the strong, clear vessel that allows you to claim it. I am Sheikh Yusuf, and I look forward to hearing of your progress. Go forth with discipline, move with purpose, and never settle for a version of yourself that is less than the infinite intended. We are building a legacy, one meal and one decision at a time. The work continues. Peace.